come to the uses of forest. So one by one, there are 3 points, starting with Arna. Can you say which is the first use of the forest? And just elaborate on the first point.
Provide timber.
Timber.
Ma'am, I actually don't know what this timber means.
Timber means wood.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So the forests have many trees. They provide us with many wood, many woods, from which we can make paper, and they are also helped in building houses.
Correct. So basically forests help us because there are a lot of trees, all the trees. I'm sure most of you, when you've gone to vacations, have you ever been to any forest areas or any hilly areas? Because most of the mountains and the hilly areas will have a forest nearby. So how many of you have been to a forest for a vacation or a hilly area for a vacation?
Ma'am, like I went for a safari, ma'am.
So which area, which forest was that?
Ma'am, I don't remember. I think near Ooty, ma'am.
Near Ooty, okay. So maybe that, the tiger, yeah?
Yeah, and I went to the Gir forest.
The Gir forest, okay. So near Ooty, it must be the Nagarhole, the tiger sanctuary, the Nagarhole Reserve Forest.
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Nagarhole, right? Okay, so you must have seen a lot of trees, right? Out of which the other day also, elephants. Out of which the other day also I said, there would be a few trees which would be painted white or painted red in color. The trunk will be painted. That means this tree is reserved by the government of India, GOI. So nobody, like people like us, citizens of India, we cannot cut the tree. But there would be certain area in the forest, where cutting of trees, not inside the forest, but then again there would be certain areas where one can cut trees, where you're allowed to cut trees. So, there is a lot of deforestation which happens. Lot of trees are being cut. And why are they cut? They are being cut for timber or they are cut for wood. Right? And how is wood come to use of us? We make furniture. So tell me, what are the uses of wood one by one? Tell me.
We use it for making paper.
Paper, yes. So there's furniture, there's paper.
Tables and chairs.
Yes, so that comes under furniture. Table, chair, bed, this is all furniture for us. What else?
Ma'am, some cooking utensils, ma'am, like...
Yes, ma'am, you can make utensils by calabash trees.
Yes, utensils, okay. What else?
Ma'am,
doors.
Sorry? Door, okay. Doors, window. Very good. Firewood.
Ma'am, houses.
Houses, very good.
Ma'am, even used for wooden flooring.
Very good. Wooden flooring.
Fire.
Yes, the two parallel lines are made out of metal, iron. But what are the sleepers in between made out of in the railway tracks? These are wooden planks.
Why aren't they metal ones?
Because, too much of metal will heat up the surface. Have you seen when there are, railway tracks here? For example, there's one more track here. There is always a gap between two tracks.
Yes,
why isn't it at a stretch? Any idea?
Because it expands when it contacts with the heat.
Yes, correct. Because the wheel of the train is also made out of iron. The track is also made out of iron. And when it goes on high speed, the metal expands and joins the other track. Right? So that's the reason why it's made out of metal. And, there's not much of pressure or force required here. This is just to keep these two joined together. That's the reason why wooden, planks are being used. Metal is much costlier than wood. Iron is much costlier than wood. Correct? So railway tracks are made. Boats, you must have seen in Kerala, The boats, the catamaran, the entire boat is
Yes,
made out
ma'am.
of, yeah, the entire boat is made out of wood. The boats that are used for snake boat races and all, the entire boat is made out of wood, right? You must have seen in villages they use carts, right, attached to the cow or the bull, or maybe those tangas used in northern states. Those carts are also fully made out of wood. Earlier times, even the wheels were made out of wood of the carts. The entire cart was made out of wood. So this is how helpful wood is, timber, to our day-to-day life. And as students, we require a lot of pencil, we require paper. Everything is made out of wood. Correct? What all food do we get from the forest?
Ma'am, we get meat and like fruits.
Yes. What all fruits?
Vegetables,
From the forest, what all fruits do you think you get?
apples, bananas. Um,
We don't get apples and banana from the forest. Who will go to the forest which is filled with lions and tigers?
Ma'am, mushrooms.
Some wild mushrooms, okay, but basically apple and banana, they're all grown in an agricultural land. There are apple orchards and banana plantations which farmers will grow on their own.
What about white berries?
Yes, wild berries. Yes, of course, wild berries. What else? So we can get some mushroom, but all mushrooms are not edible. Only the oyster mushroom and the button mushrooms are edible. So we have to be very careful because a forest will have all sorts of poisonous mushrooms too. Some wild berries,
Ma'am, we also get olives.
honey. I doubt, because olives are grown only in Italy. So I doubt if Italian forests have olive trees. They might. I'm not too sure. Could be.
Ma'am, nuts.
Certain nuts, yes, certain nuts. But these nuts, apple, banana, these are all done they're done by farmers in proper land. They're not done in forest. There is something called the agricultural land. They are done in proper agriculture. They're processed in different agriculture. I think that here, there's the third point where we will be discussing only medicines, right? See, there are few people who have wild boar. Wild boar. So that is also food coming from the forest. Right? There are certain tubers. What is the meaning of tubers? Tubers means things that grow underground. For example, colocasia. Colocasia is a tuber which normally grows in the wild areas. And there are certain tubers like turmeric, which could grow in forest areas. There are certain spices. For example, especially, black pepper. Black pepper and cardamom, they grow in forest areas.
So I said cinnamon.
Cinnamon, could be even cinnamon, yeah. Cinnamon is basically the bark of a tree, cinnamon tree, right? So basically these are, these are things, many a times in Northeast, I've also seen tea plants, tea plants, certain tea plants growing in forest area. There are specific places, specific areas for tea plantation, but I have also seen certain forests having tea plants. Correct? So these are all the food that we get from forest. Now, Priscilla, tell me, what about medicines? What all medicines can we get from the forest?
Ma'am, neem, eucalyptus oil.
Neem, of course, if it is like one very famous, Ayurvedic ingredient, especially in India. Of course,
Ma'am, eucalyptus
eucalyptus.
oil.
Yes, eucalyptus.
Ma'am, tulsi, basil leaf.
Yeah, there is a certain wild tulsi, right? Basil, which grows in the forests. There are almost 22 types of tulsis. So the wild tulsis can be used for medicinal purposes. There are certain wild berries which are very much used for making Ayurvedic medicines, natural medicine. There is something called an isabgul. Isabgul. What is isabgul? This is basically a fibrous husk. This is a fiber which is being, eaten or had to relieve constipation. So this is a very important fibrous husk which comes from a plant. What else?
Ma'am, aloe vera.
Aloe vera, yes, of course. Aloe vera can grow without even much care, and it requires very little water. So it can grow very freely in forest areas, right? Especially in a country like India, where we depend a lot on Ayurveda. A lot of our medicines come from the plants which are in the forest. Lot of those essential oils, right? A lot of those essential oils come from the flowers and the plants. There are certain wild roses. Oil is being extracted from them. And those oils are being used to treat certain kind of pain, for relaxation. So there's a lot of medicines which are being derived from the forest, right? So we have discussed timber, we have discussed food, we have discussed medicines. So is forest helpful or not so helpful? Yes, forests are very useful. Just imagine if we did not have forests, all the things that I wrote down, we would not have received it, we would not have got it. Right? Now, uses of forests. What are the other uses that we have from forests? Unmana, can you please discuss?
Forest, there are a lot of trees in a forest, so that helps in more amount of oxygen release, and more amount of carbon dioxide is absorbed, and like in hilly areas, the water, the the control of water makes it easy if there are a lot of trees. And ma'am, I think I know only these two.
Okay, basically when I'm talking about forest products, what does forest products mean? Products that we get from the forest. It could be from the trees, it could be from the animals. What are the products that we get from our forest? We get gums, we get rubber, we get resin, isn't it? We get a lot of spices.
Ma'am, we get jute and coil also.
Exactly, jute, coir.
Ma'am, what is coir?
Coir is the husk of coconut husk, which is being used to make coconut ropes. And through those ropes, there are many things which are made. You can make carpet, you can make foot mats.
Ma'am, and we get ivory from elephant.
Yes, very good. Ivory, though this is not allowed anymore, right? Poaching and hunting animals for their products are not allowed anymore. Ivory is the tusk of the elephants. The tusk that the elephants have.
What is it?
Because for that what happens is that ivory is a very costly item. It is a very, very, very costly item. People make jewelry out of ivory, and there are certain medicines also which are made out of ivory. So what do the poachers do? Who are poachers? Poachers are who illegally, they illegally hunt animals. They illegally hunt animals. And what they do is that, many a times it is difficult to cut the tusk of the elephant. So they kill the elephant. And once the elephant is dead, then they cut it with a saw. Both the tusks are cut with a saw. And then they sell it for lakhs and crores. Even if they do not kill the elephant, what they do is that they just cut the tusk. Now what happens is that if the elephant doesn't have tusk, it lives a very difficult life. Because in a forest now, with the help of a tusk, the elephant can move plant, trees, bushes. It helps it to, it's kind of a defense mechanism. But if it does not have a tusk, it becomes very difficult for the elephant to survive in a forest. So it anyways gets injured on its face,
Ma'am,
yeah.
ma'am, if the poachers uh, they take the task without killing the elephant, won't the elephant try to harm the poachers?
Yeah, so what they do is that they tranquilize. They tranquilize the elephant. They take a gun. In that gun, there is a syringe full of sleeping medicines. And then they will shoot the gun. They will shoot this syringe to the elephant. They will shoot maybe 2 to 4 such syringe medicine filled with medicines to the elephant. And maybe in the next 10 to 15 minutes, the elephant will go off to sleep or will become unconscious. And once the elephant becomes unconscious, then they will cut the trunk, the tusk with the saw. It is not painful because it's like cutting our hair or cutting our nails. It has got we don't feel the pain. So elephant will also not feel the pain, but it is like a defense mechanism,
Ma'am,
right?
we also get silk from silkworms and also fabric.
Very good. We also get fabric, right? We also get silk because there's a lot of silkworms, right, which stays there. So we get fabric, if not cotton, but nowadays there are different kinds of fabric which are being worked upon. It's not only cotton, not only silk, but there are various other kind of fabrics which are being worked upon. People are taking out, fibers from banana, and they are making fabric out of banana, as in not the fruit, but
Ma'am,
from the
yes,
leaves.
ma'am. They make some saris also, no, ma'am.
Yes, they make saris out of the banana fibers. There is jute, there is banana fiber, there is silk, right? So forest has got a lot. What is resin? What is the meaning of resin? Any idea?
Ma'am, the toxic material which the trees remove.
See, it's not always toxic, but it is basically a waste material. You will find, certain plants, they'll have certain hard deposits, which is at times when it comes out, it's a little sticky and later it crystallizes. That's the resin. For example, rubber plantation, Kerala has a lot of rubber plantation. So what do the rubber planters do? They cut a certain portion of the trunk and they put a small bucket here. So over a period of a few days, all the sap, all the resin will come out and they will collect rubber paste, rubber, liquid rubber. Then they will take it to the factory and they will process it and they will make plain rubber sheets. And out of that, they make balloons, they make rubber gloves, they make erasers, and then they make several other things which are made out of rubber. Gum means something like a glue, right? Now, there are certain trees, there are certain trees which have this, again, the same gum coming out. Now, these are edible gum. These gums are edible. You will find that these edible gums are at times put in laddus, which you get in the sweetmeat shop, which are being had during the winter months, which keeps our body warm. There are certain edible gums which are also put in chewing gums. Chewing gums also have edible gums in it.